passed away, I realized something, that underneath her timid, compliant, traditional exterior was a counterculture change agent. This petite church lady was a deaconess, and I'm sure was head of the deaconess committee in the Baptist church, my own remembrance of that, going to that church. She was a master centerpiece maker, a prayer warrior, and long before it was mainstream, a health nut, an environmental activist of sorts. Her own health drew her deeply into this underworld of hippie co-ops and places where you could go in and shop with bare feet. And there were lots of people with, dreadlocks, and you could buy organic seeds by the pound. This is a little beach town in San Diego, it was already tipping a little bit to that, hippie side, but she used to go to these places, and when we were sick, she would pour a handful of alfalfa tabs in our hands, and we'd throw them down, and then another couple hours she'd bring in, and I'm talking like 10, 12, 15 alfalfa tabs. Vitamin A, it's good for you, you'll get better. Send us to bed or school. She was all of this with a 1960s church lady cover. And then there was the cleanse. I remember my dad handing me a bottle of some new supplement we were trying, and my mom had found it, and they were like bribing us kids to do the, it'll be good for you. Let go of all your toxins. You'll feel better on the court. I was an athlete, but that still did not hear. What I heard was blah, 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 no food, blah, blah, blah. And then I snapped to when my dad said, you can't get your driver's license until you do the cleanse. Oh my God, whatever. So I started the cleanse the very next day. And it worked. Emptying my body of Jack-in-the-Box milkshakes and whatever else I used to eat after practice with my brothers, and giving it time to release unhealthy substances that I consumed, provided energy, clearer thinking, and a driver's license. There are many examples we have of emptying vessels of some sort for health. Radio comedians Click and Clack, the Tappet Brothers, anybody know? Yeah, okay, good. Have been telling radio audiences for decades that if you want your car to stay in tip-top shape, regular oil changes are essential. Empty all that oil out, that gritty, dirty oil will drain away, and then fill it with fresh, new oil. Don't forget to put the drain plug back in. You can hum along for years if you do little else for your car but this to maintain it. And then there was the recent best-selling book that extols the virtues of emptying, the life-changing magic of tidying up, the Japanese art of decluttering and organizing. Japanese author Marie Kondo has a simple plan. Empty all your closets, empty all your drawers, empty all your cabinets, shelves, and you pile everything in the middle of the room. Then, step 2, you throw almost everything away. If you don't need it and you don't love it, get rid of it. And then you return the things that bring you joy, and only those things, to their respective places. Now, people in this church have told me that they think this woman is off her rocker. Neurotic and extremist, not to be trusted. And she may be to an extent, but you should see my closet now. It's a work of art. I might put a picture in the newsletter. Perhaps she is simply passionate about removing the things that get in the way of life flow. There is energy that comes with a clear vessel or a fresh start. God created the world out of nothing, and as long as we are nothing, God can create something out of us. I don't think that's a worthiness issue. It's being available as containers. There is great possibility in nothingness. A spiritual paradox that is found in most religious traditions is this notion that if we hold tightly to something, to life, we're going to lose it. But if we let go, we'll find new life. There is a telling method of trapping monkeys in jungles that illustrates this point. Maybe you've heard of this practice. I'm sure they just capture them for pets, so I don't know. Hunters place in a jar with a very small lid a bright, shiny object. And inside this small bottle with the bright, shiny object, they know something will happen. And that is, once they place it somewhere, a monkey will come along with its, not monkeys, little tiny hands they have, little tiny monkey hands. So that little tiny monkey hand, they can slip their hand right into that bottle, and when they grab the shiny thing, they can't get their hand out anymore. They can't extract their hand from the jar. And they are vulnerable because they simply will not let go of the shiny thing. They can't get away from these people who are gathering them up for some purpose. It's not that they value this object more than life. They simply can't see beyond their grasp. Our bodies, our cars, our closets, our spirits, even monkeys, have the propensity to cling to things that no longer bring life on the journey. You know, it's much easier to explain, though, why we are holding on than why we might make this counterculture decision to let go, to empty ourselves for the sake of being filled by the Spirit and shaped. Some people might even say that that is, what was the word they used about that woman? Neurotic, crazy, doesn't make any sense, not to be trusted. If you start talking that way, if you start talking about this paradox of letting go. And for Christians, the model of Jesus emptying himself again and again, and then emptying himself on the cross after a short but passionate ministry stands alone. The cross wasn't the first place on his journey that he made the choice to empty himself. Imagine Jesus in the wilderness. I tend to go there regularly. Days and nights passing as he released one inner obstacle after another from the closets, the drawers, the cabinets of his life. Jesus had to let things go. He must have known that grasping even one shiny object would make him incapable of the fullness of his mission. And imagine him placing spiritual barriers like temptation, fear, pride on the desert sand and walking away. Like Martin Luther King Jr., our modern day hero, Jesus knew that he could not cling to life itself if he were going to live fully and completely the life to which the reign of God was calling him. Now, Marcus Borg, he wrote that Jesus' death was not some cosmic requirement to save the world, but that instead it was Jesus' passion that got him killed. His passion for the reign of God's great love on earth, right here, right now, cost him his life. I've been thinking sports metaphors all week. I don't know why. The Broncos won. We could be moving on. But the metaphor, the saying that I know from sports that's just running through my head is leaving it all on the field. Leaving it all on the field. No holding back. No holding on. Give it your all. And that's exactly what Jesus did. He didn't hold back. He left nothing on the field. He did so when he was with his disciples, when he met the sick and the lame, when he was at the temple just totally ticked off. He did so when he was wandering in the desert, as we just talked about. And he did so when he was face to face with the officials of the ancient empire. Leaving it all on the field. Never holding back. Changed everything. Cost him his life. He was so emptied out. Even Jesus couldn't quite find God in the end. Why have you forsaken me? But God in the end found Jesus. Like Jesus, we are called to the demands of this faith-driven life, which is, at its core, love-driven life. What if our life was love-driven? I was thinking that this week. What that would look like for me when I'm impatient at a teller who can't make change, or when I'm sure that I'm right and someone else didn't remember this particular thing. What if I come from a place of love when I start to feel impatience bubbling up? For all of us, it's a different thing. Now, here's the good news. Most of us, in fact, maybe all of us, are not likely to be required to die like our rabbi and guide Jesus, like Martin Luther King Jr. did. Yet like Jesus, this vibrant and full of life passion invites us, will ask us to leave it all on the field. To give our best in the game to where we feel emptied out. It's risky, but it's real. Live the paradox and know this life-charging mystery. Lose your life, and you will find it. Amen.